Hello, I'm John Bachman. One person is now dead after an SUV tried to smash through the gates at the NSA headquarters today. Guards at Fort Meade near Baltimore, where the NSA is located, were forced to open fire when two men tried to ram the gate late this morning. One was killed. The other has apparently been hurt. More to come as this becomes available to us. Prosecutors are also expected to wrap up the case today against Boston Marathon bombing suspect Dzhokhar Tsarnaev. A medical examiner has been describing the wounds caused when Tsarnaev and his brother set off those homemade bombs near the finish line of the 2013 marathon. 3 people were killed and more than 260 were hurt. The German co-pilot who crashed the jet into the French Alps last week was treated for suicidal tendencies. That's according to German prosecutors today, who have been going through the medical records of Andreas Lubitz. But they say that treatment was carried out years before he became a pilot.
These documents don't show any hint of being suicidal or being aggressive against other people.
Now, that's the German prosecutor. The search continues in the French Alps through the debris that was left by the crash last week. The German newspaper also has more from the cockpit voice recorder, saying it captured the pilot screaming, quote, "For God's sake, open the door," when Lubitz locked himself in and then sent the plane into its descent. New accusations surfaced today that the U.S. is working on Iran's behalf in the ongoing nuclear talks in Vienna. An Iranian defector who was once a top advisor to Iran's president now says the U.S. is mainly working to convince the other countries involved in the talks to go along with the deal. Tomorrow is the deadline to reach an agreement. Meanwhile, as the battle continues for the Iraqi town of Tikrit. Iran state-run media now says a U.S. drone strike killed 2 military advisors. They claim those advisors were members of the elite Iranian Revolutionary Guard. They died during that American-led strike last week. Just outside of Tikrit, the U.S. says it has only struck ISIS targets. The biggest threat to America may be President Obama himself. That is the view of more than a third of Republicans in a new poll out today by Reuters. The president beats Vladimir Putin and Syrian leader Bashar al-Assad. 27% of Republicans also see the entire Democratic Party as an imminent threat to the U.S. 22% of Democrats say the same thing about Republicans. And a couple of Republicans may be getting closer to jumping in the presidential race. Politico says Florida Senator Marco Rubio is looking at a possible announcement on April 13th. His team is reportedly looking at several locations, including the Freedom Tower in Miami, a landmark often referred to as the Cuban version of Ellis Island. And he may be joined in that Republican race relatively quickly by former HP CEO Carly Fiorina. She tells Fox News that she's 90% certain she will seek the nomination, but she'll make an announcement sometime later in May. And that's going to do it for this Newsmax Now update. We'll have another one coming up for you in 30 minutes. I'm John Bachman. We'll now send it back to Midpoint with Ed Berliner.